Hello, vinyl community. Welcome back to TONYS LPSRUS. Thanks for dropping in. And, in a couple of weeks, we have the 65th Grammy Award show being televised. And the first Grammy was not televised. The second Grammys were televised. The first one was May 4th, 1959. And what I'm going to do today is I'm not going to go into a typical best song, best artist. What I'm going to do is my top pick 6 of the best design album covers. The Grammys award album cover awards. And they're actually, the first one was actually called the Best Recording Package Artwork. And it's presented to the art director, not the performing artist, unless he was the art director, but to the art director, art designer. So the first one was May 4th, 1959, and that was awarded to Frank Sinatra's Only the Lonely. And I have a few samples here of that record, and we're going to show that. And the art director of that was noted as Frank Sinatra, but the actual artist who painted it was Nikolai Volpe. And here we have it. The Tears of a Clown, Only the Lonely. It's classic. So this is 1959. This is a mono pressing on Capitol. Here's the back. Nelson Riddle conducted the orchestra. And this is a Rainbow Capitol. I also have a stereo of the same album. And this was a reissue. So when it's a bridge version of the songs, there's 2 songs left out, one on side 1 and one on side 2. And this is the orange Capitol label. If you could see that. I'm getting some color. But that's the orange Capitol label. Then I have another reissue, mono, still in shrink, EMI, Capitol. And this is a yellow Capitol. There you go. There's another mono. It's a beautiful painting. And Sinatra's listed as the art director. I'm sure he may have devised the concept. So he was awarded a Grammy as well. Next up, and these aren't the best covers. They're not the most intriguing covers, but the ones I picked. And what I tried to do was I put rock, vocal, funk, blues, and I picked 6 and some progressive rock. There's been 65 album covers selected. Some are classical, a lot of pop, some of the later bands. You can look them up. I'm not even sure I don't have the albums. I actually picked 6 albums that I do have. So the second one I picked is the classic Revolver by Klaus Voormann. So Klaus Voormann, the Beatles' friend from Germany, bass player, art designer. Paul came to him and asked him to think of a concept, and this is what he came up with. This is on Rainbow Capitol. This is a stereo, early pressing. And here's the flip side. And as you know, there was a box set recently released on this with outtakes, a new stereo mix, and a new mono mix. So this is the original stereo mix. Okay. My third pick is something I wasn't even aware that it won a Grammy for Best Album Cover, but I looked it up, and it had. And luckily I had it in my collection. It's B.B. King's Indianola Mississippi Seeds. Indianola, Mississippi Seeds. And that's a classic. The artist who designed it was Robert Lockhart, and the photographer who actually photographed the photos was Ivan Nagy. He's a film director, screenwriter, photographer. So in 1971, B.B. King's 1971 album, Indianola, Mississippi Seeds, best album cover. And this is a great album in its own right. I believe it says ABC. And there's the back. So it's actually the melon is smashed there. And here's the original inner. And that's the ABC label. 1971. And this is a gatefold. So it's really a beautiful gatefold. And the artist and the photographer are actually given credit. And it has a little bit of a family tree on this. And there's the spine. Fourth up, I have something interesting. It's the Who's Tommy, but it's done by the London Symphony Orchestra and the English Chamber Choir with various guest artists. And this is 1975, and the designer was Tom Wilkes. And Tom Wilkes also designed Janis Joplin's Pearl. He also designed Harrison's All Things Must Pass and the Concert for Bangladesh. So this is a really cool album, and it's a box set. It's a double album. This is the winning design. And there's the pinball. And inside, so it's actually a design for the entire package. So this package is really beautiful, as it has a gatefold inner. Of a mock-up pinball machine with Tommy. And inside, we have the pinballs and some of the song titles, the double record. Here's the original inner. And this is on Ode Records. And there it is, Tommy. Get that there for you. And this comes with a libretto. And here's the second record. Beautiful label. And here's the libretto. So, based on the entire package, this was a winner. It's a beautiful album. Some of the guest soloists on here: Pete Townsend, Steve Winwood, Maggie Bell, Richie Havens, Roger Daltrey, Ed Whistle, Ringo, Rod Stewart, Richard Harris, and you could see great photo there. Uncle Ernie, Rod Stewart, Richard Harris. Richard Harris was a recording artist in his own right. Had a ton of hit music. I believe he did Arthur Park. And so this is an order of Tommy's on here, the libretto. That was my number 4. And my number 5 is an all-time favorite. And that's the Ohio Players' Honey. So in 1976, this won Best Design. And it was Jim Ladwig, an album art director for Mercury Records. He also was nominated in 73 for The Faces Ooh La La. As if you know, that's an animated cover where the photo slides inside from a third sleeve in the jacket. The nominees at this time, one of the nominees in 1976 who lost out to this record was Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. And that designer is Hypnosis, who did the majority of, I believe, all of the Pink Floyd albums. So here we have Honey. And Ladwin worked for Mercury Records as an album designer. And it is said that he designed this cover before the song Honey was written. And the Ohio Players wrote the song based on his design. And here we have the gatefold. And this was a beautiful poster that was also available at the record stores. I remember having a poster of the jacket, and beautiful, beautiful cover on Mercury. And I'll show you the record. Mercury inner. And this is a beautiful, just trying to get there without the light. That's the Mercury label, Ohio Players. And this is funk at its best. And my number 6 pick. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, as I do in all my videos, I'm going to also show you what I consider a top sounding record. That's not an audiophile pressing, just a normal pressing, but it sounds fabulous. And if you can see over my shoulder, I have it up there, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. So number 6 is a classic, Breakfast in America, Supertramp, and that was 1980. So 1980, best album cover, Supertramp at the Grammys. Now, the designer was Mike Hagerly. He was the graphic designer, and Mike Dowd was the artist. Also nominated at that year that lost out to Breakfast in America was Led Zeppelin's In Through the Outdoor, and that was also Hypnosis. Now, if you remember In Through the Outdoor, I believe there were 6 variants of the same cover, slightly different. When you took off the brown, there was a brown wrapper on the cover. So number 6, and a classic record in its own right. Everyone should have this. This is a great sounding record. This has the hype sticker, so I pull this one out right on the jacket. This is the spine is really nice. And here's the inner, lyric inner. Beautiful. And here's the record with the logo. And if I didn't point out before, which I did not, you could see the edition of the World Trade Towers in Manhattan right there. So this is an iconic cover. So that's my top 6. And I figured this would be a good one to do. It's short. It's topical as the Grammys are coming out, and the 65th Grammys coming out in February. First Grammy Award for album cover, Frank Sinatra for Only the Lonely, and he's listed as art director. So we don't know if Frank had anything to do with that, but he's listed as the art director, as well as the artist Volpe, who painted the beautiful portrait of him as a clown with tears coming out of his blue eyes. So that's it. Now I'm going to go to the Kinks and show you this one. And this is a 12-inch 45 disco, as we called them in the day. And this is Wish I Could Fly Like Superman. And this is the 12-inch. This still has the original shrink. Also Low Budget, which is a classic. And this is when the Kinks got a little bit more play in the States when they moved over to Arista from RCA. And that's when I got turned on to them. I always knew the Kinks early material, but I really loved the Arista years. And here's the actual inner, which is a plain inner. And that's the record there. And this, if you could find this online, this is fabulous. Low Budget tracks in at 448. Oh, this is a 33 1/3, but it sounds as if it's cut 45. So this is a 12-inch single, 33 1/3. Low Budget 448. And Wish I Could Fly Like Superman is 558. I believe this is a different mix than would be on the record. So that's basically it. It's a short video. For me anyway. My last video was an hour. That was a ton of records, and I'm really enjoying this. So if you like what you see and you want to get notified, please subscribe and give me some ideas for some other concepts. I have some that I'm going to be doing in the next couple of days. I have some I've been thinking about. So I hope you enjoyed this one. And any comments, I'd be really pleased to see what you think. And, you know, now when you see an album cover, look up the designer, because they're not one-trick ponies. They're usually nominated in the past. They usually have done multiple albums or logos. And just for instance, the one who did Honey for Mercury actually did the Mercury Ooh La La. And if you all know the Faces album, Ooh La La, Rod Stewart, that's a really, really beautiful design. And when you find them out in the wild, they're torn because it was actually some type of mechanism that pulls, and I could show that at another date. So thanks a lot, and keep rocking. Tony, LPSRUS, signing out. Ciao. Thank you.